Your mom and dad are really sick. You have to come back home right away. I begged Tyler to help, but he was mean. He said, I'm busy with my friends. Deal with it yourself. You're probably making it sound worse than it is, right? I gotta go. I tried to talk to him again, but he hung up on me. 2 weeks later, when Tyler got home, I told him, they're both gone. Their funerals are done. Tyler looked shocked and confused. What do you mean both? Are you joking? He asked me, scared. No joke. I called you 2 weeks ago about your mom and dad being very sick, I told him. But why didn't you tell me earlier? Tyler was speechless. My name is Jessica Atkins. I'm 56, and I take care of the house full-time. I used to work at an office, but I quit when I got married. I met Tyler in college. I joined the tennis club because a friend asked me to. I didn't know how to play. I just wanted to have fun. But Tyler, who was in charge, was serious about tennis. He'd get mad if you couldn't keep up during practice. Because I was new at tennis, I couldn't even hit the ball with my racket, and Tyler would get mad at me. He'd say, Jessica, seriously, you're just getting in the way. Go do something else, and make me leave the court. His words made me feel really embarrassed. Most of the time, I was only allowed to pick up the balls, hardly ever getting to play. I got so frustrated that I practiced tennis at home. Maybe all that practice paid off. One day, when Tyler served the ball, I hit it back really well. Tyler looked surprised because he thought I'd miss. But then he said, Jessica, that was amazing, with a big smile. In that moment, I realized I had feelings for him. After that, Tyler kept being strict, and I kept trying hard to keep up with his tough training. Then one day, after a while, we were out with friends for our monthly get-together. We do this to strengthen our friendships outside of our usual group activities. On our way home from one of these gatherings, it was just me and Tyler. Suddenly, he told me he had feelings for me. Jessica, I've fallen for you. I want us to be together. I was surprised. Tyler had never shown any signs of liking me before. But I also had feelings for him. So I said, I like you too. Let's give it a try. That was the start of our relationship. Tyler wanted to keep our relationship a secret from our club friends to not affect the team spirit. But I was so in love with him at that time. I was just happy to be with him. We kept dating even after we finished college, and we got married when I was 26. I quit my job as Tyler asked when we got married. I'll always be there for Tyler, I thought. At that time, I was deeply in love, imagining a bright future with Tyler. It's been 30 years since Tyler and I tied the knot. In the beginning, we went on lots of dates and were really close. But as time passed, things started feeling a bit ordinary. Even I didn't put as much effort into my looks as I did when I was younger. I used to wear trendy clothes and always look stylish when going out with Tyler. I remember spending a lot of time on my makeup, but now I'm more relaxed about how I dress. Comfort is key for me these days, so I prefer loose skirts with elastic waists over ones with zippers. Since I stay home most of the time, I don't bother with makeup from morning to night. I can't even remember the last time I wore any. Some people might think I've let myself go. Compared to my younger days, my body has changed quite a bit. I used to be slim, but not anymore. I've gained weight and now look like the before pictures you see on weight loss shows. Maybe this change in how I look is one reason why our relationship feels routine now. Over time, I've noticed Tyler treating me more like a mom than a wife. Even though I'm not his mother, he sometimes jokes, Mom, can I get another coffee? By the way, Tyler's mom still lives nearby, about a 10-minute walk from us, along with his dad. But we live in separate homes. My in-laws are really kind and always worry about me. Because they're so caring, I wanted to support them, so I visited them a lot. But recently, their health has been getting worse. My father-in-law is fighting a serious illness, and the doctors say there's not much more they can do. With tears in his eyes, he told my mother-in-law and me, I want to spend my last days at home. So he left the hospital and is now getting special care at home. Taking care of my father-in-law all by herself, my mother-in-law looks exhausted, and she seems really sad. As a stay-at-home wife, I help take care of my in-laws almost every day, but I know it must be really hard for my mother-in-law to live with him all the time. It's tough, Jessica. Could you stay with us just for one night? She asks me, looking vulnerable. I'm sorry. Tyler comes home at night, I say, even though it hurts to turn her down. I understand. My mother-in-law says sadly when I say no. Every night, I have to take care of Tyler. Tyler is a very bossy husband and never helps with anything around the house. He just leaves his dirty socks everywhere. I have to make sure dinner is ready and warm when Tyler gets home. There's no way I can serve leftovers. If he finds out, he'll get really angry. Once I was late getting home because I was taking care of my father-in-law. When I finally got back, Tyler was furious. You should put me first instead of my dad. I'm your family, remember? He yelled at me, his face all red. I wanted to remind him that my father-in-law is his family too. But I stayed quiet because I knew arguing would only make things worse. Because of moments like this, I'd always have to prioritize Tyler. Every day feels so tight and stressful. As a stay-at-home wife, I feel guilty and can't stand up to Tyler. I couldn't help my sad mother-in-law. I could only look at her with worry. Lately, Tyler's been coming home late a lot, and he never tells me. Sometimes he even comes home on the last train. You're late again. Tyler came home after midnight one night. I'm back, he said happily. His face was red, and he seemed a bit drunk. Did you go drinking again? You've been coming home late so often. I asked, taking the bag he handed me. I'd earned the money, so I'll spend it how I want, Tyler replied. But you're just a stay-at-home wife, so you should just obey me, Tyler replied gruffly. But don't you think it's happening too often? Who are you going out with all the time? Their families might be worried too, I hesitantly asked Tyler. Maybe you're making people go drinking with you. You've been with the company for so long and hold a high position. It's hard for most people to say no to that. Tyler replied with a smug smile. It's fine. I always go drinking with the same coworker. Plus, he lives alone and is single. He's always happy when I buy him a drink, Tyler said smugly. I couldn't say anything back. Being a stay-at-home wife without much say in things, I had an idea and decided to talk to Tyler about it. Could you tell me beforehand when you're going out for drinks? Your mom seems really stressed, and your dad's not doing well either. I want to be there for them as much as possible. But Tyler laughed off my concerns. No way. I go out when I feel like it. Besides, Mom will handle Dad. Jessica, you should be all for me. As I was shocked by Tyler's harsh words, he said, Stop standing there and get the bath ready. You're so slow with it, and he quickly went to the bathroom. Yes, I'm sorry. All I could do was reply like that. Then one day, Tyler suddenly said to me, I'm going on a trip for 2 weeks starting next week. While I stood there in shock, Tyler cheerfully looked through a guidebook, thinking about what he'd eat. And he was planning to go to Australia. Regaining my composure, I asked Tyler, Why the sudden international trip? What about your job? And I don't even have a passport. Tyler seemed a bit annoyed by my questions. I got a bonus, so I thought I'd just go for it. I've already asked for time off from work, and I'm not taking you, Jessica, so you don't need a passport, right? Tyler answered casually. We haven't even had a proper honeymoon since we got married. Who are you going with? I asked Tyler. Even for day trips, Tyler would say it's a waste of money and never took me along. Now this sudden international trip, it seemed suspicious. I looked at Tyler intently. I'm going with a coworker, Tyler replied. Now hurry up and get dinner ready. I realized it would be hard to question him further. Tyler probably wouldn't answer me if I kept asking, and he might even get angry. Though I felt frustrated, I reluctantly started preparing dinner. And on that day, Tyler set off for his trip early in the morning. But by noon, I found myself desperately calling him. What do you want? I'm about to board a plane for an international trip. Can't you see I'm busy? Tyler snapped at me as soon as he answered. My in-laws are in critical condition. Please, can't you cancel your trip and come home immediately? I pleaded desperately with Tyler. If he hadn't boarded the plane yet, there was still time, or so I thought. But Tyler's response was harsh. I'm on vacation with my colleague. Deal with it on your own. You're probably making it sound worse than it is. I'm busy. Gotta go now. Bye. Wait a second. I tried to reach out to Tyler, but he hung up on me anyway. No matter how many times I called back, he didn't answer. You'll regret this, I muttered to myself. 2 weeks later, I'm back. Tyler came in cheerfully, carrying a big suitcase. I went up to Tyler, feeling angry and upset, and said, both their funerals are over. What? Tyler looked confused, like he didn't understand. What do you mean by both their funerals? Are you playing some kind of sick joke? Tyler panicked, questioning me. I sighed deeply at Tyler's reaction. It's not a joke. Don't you remember? I called you 2 weeks ago, telling you your parents were really sick. I reminded Tyler. But why so suddenly? Tyler trailed off, unable to find the words, and I found myself sitting on the floor. When I went to see your parents, they both had collapsed and looked really pale. I called an ambulance in a panic, but the doctors said they were both in critical condition. Your dad needed care for a while, and your mom hadn't been well lately. It was just a series of unfortunate events. I explained to Tyler, feeling detached as I recounted what had happened leading up to my in-laws' critical condition. I'm heartbroken that my in-laws ended up like this. I was at their house almost every day and still couldn't save them in time. To this day, I regret not going there sooner. But right now, I'm just so angry at Tyler. My in-laws are his real parents, yet Tyler chose himself over them until the very end. No matter how much I begged, Tyler always put himself first. Remembering the tired look on my mother-in-law's face just makes me even angrier at Tyler. I said to Tyler, who remained silent with a grim expression. He probably can't accept what happened. I decided to confront Tyler further. It's your fault, isn't it? Choosing a trip with your colleague over your own parents. Did you have a good time on your vacation? I asked Tyler, trying to hide my anger with a sly smile. But Tyler just stayed silent. So I decided to poke a little further. Well, I guess going on a trip with your lover is fun, right? But 2 weeks seems a bit long. When I said that, Tyler, almost resigned, started to speak. You knew? Yeah, I've been seeing Baker from work. She's over 10 years younger than you, and she's been comforting me. It was clear that Tyler was indeed having an affair. His recent late nights were probably because of this Baker. As I remained silent, Tyler, thinking I had accepted his confession, continued to talk. Baker is nothing like you. She's slim, beautiful, and she has a job. You don't compare to her. Tyler was obviously proud of himself. Not bothered at all. I responded casually. He seemed to forget that he had asked me to become a stay-at-home wife after we got married. Then, as if he had an idea, Tyler made a suggestion. Exactly. Now that my parents are gone and there's no one to object, we can get a divorce and I can live here with Baker. So, leave right now. I was shocked by Tyler's words. Until now, I have been a stay-at-home wife, always going along with whatever Tyler said. I didn't have a steady income of my own, and part of me lacked the confidence to move out and support myself. But after seeing Tyler prioritize a trip with his mistress over his critically ill parents, I didn't want to stay with him anymore. Fine, I'll leave right now. Goodbye, and with that, I packed a few essentials and left the house. A week later, I found myself staying at a budget motel. My husband Tyler called my cell phone. Hello? As soon as I picked up, Tyler spoke up. I can't find the checkbook at home. He sounded really panicked. But I left all the statements under Tyler's name at the house. That includes the bank book where Tyler's salary is deposited. The only checkbook I took is in my name. Did you check properly? As soon as I said that, Tyler shouted, It's the checkbook in your name. That account had a pretty good amount of money, right? It's joint property, so half of it's mine, isn't it? After spending recklessly on trips and such, I couldn't believe Tyler was now talking about joint property. Holding back a heavy sigh, I calmly replied, The money in that checkbook is from gifts I received from my family and savings from when I was single, so it doesn't count as joint property. You know that. Tyler, sounding frantic, responded, "That's a problem. I nearly spent all of my last month's salary and bonus on the overseas trip. I thought I could cover the shortfall in our living expenses by withdrawing from your account. Up until now, I'd kept my checkbook in a drawer where Tyler could easily see it. I had no intention of hiding it from Tyler, so he must have seen the balance. I've moved out, Tyler, so I have no idea about your living expenses. Maybe ask for an advance on your paycheck." I firmly declined Tyler's request. Then, just to give Tyler a heads up, I added, "By the way, there's hardly any inheritance from your parents. They were living on their pensions, and with the cost of your father's care, they were barely getting by. And you better clear out their rented apartment soon, or you'll be paying rent every month." My in-laws have been living in a rented apartment, barely making ends meet with the rent and the cost of caring for my father-in-law. My mother-in-law somehow managed to save and get by each month. I reckon my mother-in-law had her share of worries and stress. "You're kidding." Tyler sounded shocked over the phone. So I decided to give Tyler the final blow. "I have no responsibilities to help you out. You are on your own," I declared cheerfully. "Why?" Tyler's voice was full of disbelief. Despite kicking me out without any income, he seemed to have forgotten that. "I hope they both lose their social credibility. I've got nothing left to lose. Whatever happens to them, it's none of my business. It's all my fault. Just help me out this time, please," Tyler pleaded with a voice full of desperation. "No way. You're going to regret this big time." I told him that and ended the call with Tyler. Tyler and I eventually went through with the divorce. Initially, Tyler resisted, mainly due to financial concerns, but he eventually caved in and signed the divorce papers after persuasion from my lawyer. Tyler always acted tough around me and my in-laws, but seemed submissive around others. He was all talk and no action, unable to stand up to a professional like my lawyer. Our properties were divided equally, thanks to my lawyer's efforts. Tyler had almost depleted his savings on a trip with Baker, so he was strapped for cash. My lawyer predicted Tyler would be uncooperative, but in the end, I was satisfied with the outcome. As for what happened afterward, it appears Tyler is struggling to make ends meet, living from one paycheck to the next. He has additional expenses like clearing out my in-laws' rental apartment and paying rent. Moreover, he was dumped by Baker after their affair was exposed. Initially, Baker was ambitious and used Tyler for her own gain, but she distanced herself once Tyler was demoted and she got transferred elsewhere. Tyler reached out to me through my lawyer, expressing regret and asking for another chance. Since I've blocked his calls, he's resorting to communicating through the lawyer. This desperate plea indicates he's truly cornered. He's even asked for financial help, requesting money from my savings from when I was single, which doesn't benefit me at all. Even the lawyer was surprised by this request. I hope Tyler continues to struggle. He deserves it for his actions. By the way, I reached out to Baker through my lawyer, and her response was surprisingly respectful. She conveyed, "While I was with Mr. Tyler, my expenses were minimal, so I enjoyed spending his money. But it didn't last long." She expressed deep regret for everything. It became evident that she was never truly interested in Tyler. Rather, she was attracted to his status. It's sad to see Tyler fall so hard for someone who didn't genuinely care about him. Reflecting on Tyler's downfall brought a smirk to my face. Since then, I've decided to rejoin the workforce. Can you believe it? I took up a part-time job at a convenience store. It's my first time in customer service, and surprisingly, I'm enjoying it. I was initially concerned about being on my feet all day, but once I started, time just flew by, and I found it quite enjoyable. Besides manning the register, there's tasks like stocking shelves, preparing snacks, and various other responsibilities at a convenience store. I even get to utilize my housekeeping skills with the cleaning duties. The manager mentioned that if I put in the effort, I could secure a permanent position. Apparently, there have been others in similar situations who successfully transitioned to full-time roles. Being in my 50s feels like I'm at the midpoint of life. Despite going through a divorce, I initially thought my future looked bleak. But even at this age, I'm discovering new experiences and having a great time. I'm determined to keep looking forward and moving ahead. That's my mindset right now.